agreed to donate a total of $W to a charity foundation. Each is going to contribute equally. After a disagreement, 3 friends dropped out of the project. By how many dollars was the donation of each remaining friend increased? The problem states first that any of the friends is going to pay W over $12 each. However, there is a disagreement between all of them, and finally 3 of them quit the project. Now the remaining friends will have to pay W over $9 each. This is then. The increase of payment per person would be the difference between the amount of money they had to pay before and after the disagreement. Finally, W over 9 minus W over 12 is the answer. The common denominator is 36. Now we have 3 times W minus twice W. Finally, the answer is W over $36. Choice B is correct. When x is divided by 6, the remainder is 4. When x is divided by 15, the remainder is also 4. What is the remainder when x is divided by 30? So here we have the following. We need to use the formula. The dividend is the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. For the first sentence, x is divided by 6, the remainder is 4. Therefore, x is equal to 6 times the quotient, let q be the quotient, plus 4. For the second sentence, x is divided by 15, the remainder is also 4. Therefore, x is 15 times the quotient, let capital Q be the quotient, plus 4. Here, as you can see, x is a multiple of 6 plus 4. And also, x is a multiple of 15 plus 4. Therefore, x is a number that is a multiple of 6 and 15 at the same time, plus 4. We need to find the remainder when x is divided by 30. Since 30 is an integer that is a multiple of 6 and 15 at the same time, when x is divided by 30, the multiple must be also 4. Choice C is correct.
Problem 8 says, what is the smallest positive integer that leaves the remainder of 2 when it's divided by any of the integers 6, 8, and 15? We should use the formula that we have learned. Dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. That means that this number that we are looking for, when it's divided by 6, should leave a remainder of 2. But also when this number is divided by 8, should leave a remainder of 2. And when this number is divided by 15, the remainder should also be 2. So that means that n should be a multiple of 6 plus 2, and also should be a multiple of 8 plus 2, and a multiple of 15 plus 2. So n should be a multiple of 6, 8, and 15 at the same time, plus 2. Since we want to find the smallest positive integer, we should find the least common multiple between 6, 8, and 15, which is equal to 120. So as a conclusion, we could say that n should be a multiple of 120 plus 2, which also means that when n is divided by 120, the remainder is also 2. So the least positive integer that n could take is when q is 1. If q is 1, n is equal to 122, and the answer is letter D. Problem 9 says equal amounts of wine were poured into 2 empty jars with different capacities, which made one jar 1/5 full and the other 1/6 full. If half of the wine in the jar with greater capacity is then poured into the jar with lesser capacity, what fraction of the smaller jar will be filled with wine? So we have two jars of different capacities, but they have the same amount of wine. So let's suppose we have here X liters of wine. Also, we have here X liters of wine. Since the capacities are different, here the capacity will be 5 times X liter, since it's 1/5 full, and the other has a capacity of 6 times X liters, since it's 1/6 full. Then the statement says that half of the wine in the jar with greater capacity is poured into the jar with lesser capacity. So we know that this is the jar with greater capacity. So half of the wine will be poured into this jar. That means that X over 2 liters are transferred to this jar. So the total amount of wine here will be equal to 3 over 2 times X liters. And now we want to know what fraction of the smaller jar is filled with wine. So that means that we have to divide 3 over 2 X liters of wine over the capacity of this jar, which is equal to 5 times X liters. And when we divide, we get that this is 3 over 10. So this is the fraction of the smaller tank that is filled with wine. The answer is letter A.